Hello, I am Marisha and welcome to my creative diary. I hope you're doing well. It is officially summer, my friends, so what better way to cool off than with a mixed media fan? Let's go ahead and get started. First, we're going to head on over to Cricut Design Space where I am creating the names that I'm going to use to add to each fan. I did use the Babette font. And I made sure that each name was no more than 5.5, 6 inches for this particular size fan. Once I positioned the names on the mat, I then cut out the names from black permanent vinyl. For this particular fan, I'm going to use Distress Oxide's Peacock Feathers, Saltwater Taffy, and Carved Pumpkin. I am going to use the kissing method for this fan. So basically I'm going to smush the oxide on my mat. I'm then going to spray it with water. And then from there, I'm going to use a piece of acetate to lift the oxide and apply it to the fan. Since I didn't know what type of paper surface I was working with while creating these fans, I went ahead and prepped the surface with a clear gesso. If you're not familiar with gesso, it is kind of like a primer that's used in a lot of mixed media projects by mixed media artists. You can use it on wood, paper, fabric, metals. So yeah, I decided to go ahead and prep the surface. Better to be safe than sorry. But later on I found out that I really didn't need to prep the surface. What happened was it was a happy accident. I went ahead and created a fan that I did not prep the surface, and thankfully none of the mediums bled through the paper. So I encourage you just to test out whatever surface you're working on just to see how well your mediums will react to that surface. After applying the oxides, once the fan is dry, I am going to bring in this collage stamp set from Crafter's Companion. And I'm going to also use jet black archival ink to apply the images to the fan. Once I apply the stamp to the acrylic block, I'm then going to ink up the stamp. And from there, I am going to randomly stamp the fan. So as you see right here, I'm going to stamp right here and then I'm going to stamp right there. To me, that is the beauty of mixed media. You just basically go with the flow. I know some people are intimidated by mixed media, but I encourage you to try it out. You never know what you will create. Next, I'm going to bring in from Prima their painted floral rubber transfer sheets, and I'm going to select one of the butterflies. And then from there, I'm going to position it on the fan, and I'm going to use my scraper tool and the stick that is included in the set to apply the rub on to the fan. Here's a quick backstory on how I got into creating these fans. So, I had an idea to create a fan for someone, and once I was done, I'm going to actually show you her fan that I created at the end of this tutorial. But once I was done creating her fan, I started thinking, oh my goodness, I want to make more. So I ended up making, I think it was like 13 fans to gift for Mother's Day. Yeah, but now I need to make more because some people saw their fans and they're like, Marisha, hey, I want a fan. So yeah, so that is my backstory behind how I got into making these fans. So right here, I am just playing around with the different elements that I'm going to add to this project. I am first positioning the leaf greenery, and then I'm going to position the flowers and then the ephemera. So once I'm happy with the placement, I'm then going to bring in collage medium because I want to make sure that whoever decides to use their fan, that nothing is going to fly off. Okay. I want to make sure that everything is permanently adhered to this surface. So, what better way than to use collage medium? And yes, I added extra. So, my friend, let me know below in the comment section regarding your thoughts of mixed media. Have you ever created any mixed media projects? Do you want to start creating them? Let me know below. I would love to know your thoughts. Now it's time for me to add the name to the fan. So now I'm just going to weed the vinyl. I love weeding vinyl for some odd reason. To me, it's very therapeutic. Then from there, I'm going to add the transfer tape. And then once I lift the vinyl, I am then going to position the name on the surface. Now, here's a tip too. I did not use strong transfer tape. If I would have, the paper would have ripped. So just be careful when you are using, or if you decide to add vinyl to your project. Next, I'm going to bring in saltwater taffy, and using my blending brush, I'm going to apply the oxide around the edge of the fan, creating a distressed look. The next oxide color I'm going to use around the edge is carved pumpkin. So I'm basically repeating the last step. I'm just going to use my blending brush and apply it around the edge. And then finally, I'm going to add my favorite oxide to add around the edge of projects is vintage photo. I either use vintage photo or walnut stain. So those are my two go-tos when I add distress oxides to the edge of my projects. Next, I'm going to add some splatter to this project. So I'm going to bring in some black ink from Lawn Fawn. I'm then going to spritz it with some water, and then using a paintbrush, I'm then going to give the paintbrush a few taps to apply the splatter to the fan. I decided to also splatter some peacock feathers oxide to the fan as well. I looked at the fan and decided something was missing, so I decided to use the kissing method and apply carved pumpkin to the other side of the fan. So I'm basically repeating the steps as I did in the first part of this tutorial. I'm going to spray the oxide, use the acetate to lift the oxide, and then apply it to the surface. Then from there, I'm going to dry it with my heat tool and then repeat the step by adding the next color. After I applied the heat tool to make sure the fan was dry, this project is complete. Now let's take a look at the very first fan that I created for Keisha. Oh my goodness, I love this fan. And you know what? Every fan that I created, none of them looked the same. All of them had their own personality that was so fitting for the recipient. I love it. Thank you for joining me on today. I appreciate you as always for stopping by. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Click the thumbs up button and the notification bell. Please feel free to check out my blog at thediaryofbellerose.com. I hope this tutorial does inspire you to create. I really do. Until the next crafty project, I'm sending you love and a whole lot of hugs. Please take care.